What's up, everybody? This is Prime Sports Media. Once again, you know I'm going to always bring you good, comprehensive content when it comes to what's happening at CU, and particularly what's happening with this whole situation with Shedeur Sanders. Now, I just want to let everybody know I am going to be getting into Colorado CU content, especially as the season is coming aboard. I'm very excited about the upcoming season. So I will be doing those pre-produced videos or pre-produced videos based on the analysis of each team that they're going to play each week. I'm also going to do a video going over their schedule for this year. I'm going to also do a video where we're going to talk about how the NCAA has tweaked the new championship state, the new, what we would call national championship. I was about to say state championship, excuse me, everybody, but national championship that's going to change the seeding and how a team like CU could make it to that glorious tournament. There's some things, there's some shakeup there. Okay. This is an issue that I just can't seem to get away from, everybody. The Shedeur Sanders situation, which I think is a complete shame. This has never happened in the NFL, that a player who, for all accounts, everyone felt that he would be a number one, at least picked in that number 5 to 10. There were a lot of teams that passed up on him. Some teams that didn't need a quarterback, but there were certainly teams that did need a quarterback. And Shedeur definitely passed all the tests. He had the numbers coming out of school. He wasn't a malcontent at CU. You didn't see him get in trouble with the law, but somehow he slid down to the 5th round, 144th pick. And then there was all this rumor mill that came out by individuals in the NFL who are cowards and didn't want to be named. They want to hide behind anonymity. We know it came out of the Giants camp. Let's be honest. It came out of the coaching Giants camp, but there were other camps of teams that were running their mouth and saying negative things about Shedeur. And then I think what happened is people ran with these opinions as if it was truth. Coach Prime has gotten onto a podcast with Asante Samuels. Now, Asante Samuels has a YouTube channel, and I simply think that the brother is trying to blow his channel up, because all of a sudden he wasn't getting, you know, when you have a new channel, sometimes you don't get a lot of views. Some videos do better than others. And I think he was new to the YouTube game, and I think he wasn't getting as much traction until he started talking about the comparison between him and Coach Prime. We're talking about Asante Samuels, who played with the Patriots. I think he played with the Philadelphia Eagles for a short time, won Super Bowls with the New England Patriots and Tom Brady. And, you know, he gives pretty hard-hitting content on his show, but he really didn't get a lot of traction over there until he started doing a video in which he compared himself to Coach Prime and saying that he's just as good as Coach Prime, if not better, which I think was blasphemy. I think he should be struck by lightning for saying such a thing. By God. I think it's sacrilegious to say what he just said, mainly saying that he's just as good as Deion Sanders was as a cornerback in the NFL, but not only is good, he made claims that he's better. Okay? And of course, Coach Prime said, you know what? I'm a monument. You can't compare your moments to me as a monument. Y'all remember him saying that? You know, he said Asante Samuels had moments, but he's not a monument like him. Well, anyway, those brothers scratched. I think Asante Samuels came to his senses, and he reached out to Coach Prime, brought Coach Prime onto his show. I think he got 68,000 views on that interview, which was fantastic for him. And I think they squashed all that talk. And they start talking, you know, CU football. They start talking about Shedeur Sanders. And I got to be honest. I think that Asante Samuels got an exclusive. He got an exclusive that nobody got first, because Coach Prime revealed how he really felt about how he felt that Shedeur Sanders was marginalized, underestimated, and undervalued by the NFL, because he felt that the NFL had something against him. Now, remember, Coach Prime, look, man, the man is a proud man. This man played in the NFL. This man played at the highest level of college football at Florida State, highest level of football in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys, Atlanta Falcons, and, of course, my 49ers. And he know how the NFL works. And he said that, hey, you know, maybe there's certain teams that my son wouldn't fit well with. And believe it or not, it's weird that, you know, Shedeur is now playing with the Cleveland Browns. And the Cleveland Browns are one of the teams that Coach Prime was a little not very confident or sure about, right? So either way, Shedeur finds himself on this roster. And the question I have to say to everybody as I move forward with this podcast, there's the head football coach of the Cleveland Browns. And the question is, are the Cleveland Browns really all in with Shedeur Sanders? They go out and get Gabriel, the other quarterback, who they get in the 3rd round, while drafting Shedeur in the 5th round. Something doesn't make sense about that. They've got Joe Flacco. We know that Watson is not going to be playing because he's got all kind of injury issues. And then you got the issue with Kenny Pickett, who came over from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Steelers have just totally given up on him. So the question is, are the Cleveland Browns all in with him? And is the NFL from the very get-go, have they went out of their way to sort of sabotage the situation with Shedeur Sanders and where he should have been drafted, his draft potential? Was there collusion amongst owners? Was there collusion amongst general managers and personnel, scouts and what have you, who were trying to show or teach Coach Prime a lesson? And Coach Prime, when he met with Asante Samuels, he basically admitted that he's very disappointed in his peers, who he thought, would be more respectful to him than that. He believes that the NFL itself, the NFL lied to you all, everybody. The NFL, let me put them up. The NFL, let me let you in on a little bit of secret. The NFL lied, everybody. They lied because first they said that Shedeur Sanders came to the meetings unprepared, came to the meetings as aloof, not listening, being arrogant. And then Coach Prime let us in on something, that they were also putting this rumor out, this lie, that Shedeur Sanders was somehow, when he went to his, I guess, one of his NFL interviews, that he walked into the room with his earbuds on. If y'all believe that, I could sell you a bridge in Brooklyn. This is total bullshit. The bottom line is, I believe Coach Prime, that they had it out for him because of how outspoken Coach Prime was prior to the draft, and outspoken about where he would like to see his son play, as if no father is going to have an opinion about where his son. I also think that Coach Prime revealed some other things that are important that you're going to see today in this video that I'm going to play for you, when he got interviewed by Asante Samuels. He also said that he believed that there were coaches in the NFL that were concerned about losing their job to Coach Prime, that they felt that maybe this is a guy that might get hired because of what he's done at CU, right? And this is what he told Asante Samuels, you see on the screen there, that he believed that they were concerned that Coach Prime was coming for their job, that they're concerned that, hey, if we draft Shedeur Sanders and I don't coach well, maybe the owner will think about bringing Coach Prime, in for an interview, hire him to coach his son and coach the team. So I do believe that there's some fear about that, because I got to be honest, in the NFL, um, particularly the white coaches, they have had a fraternity of, I would think, what do you call that, where they all hire each other. The owners are hiring a lot. There's a lot of coaches that happen to be white in the NFL that keep getting retread over and over again. They keep getting hired here and hired there, because the NFL is about relationships, and the relationships that you have with owners, coaches on that coaching staff that maybe coach with you in college, high school, or at another NFL team. It's about relationships. And oftentimes you don't see a lot of qualified, I think, guys that happen to be black that are getting opportunity. Yeah, you do have some black coaches in the NFL, but as far as I'm concerned, it's not enough, that to the point that there's not enough being hired that are more qualified than their white counterparts. And you have coaches in the NFL that have hired their sons, giving them opportunity to coach in the NFL, sons that have never had even high school coaching. Should I say Shanahan, who's coaching my 49ers, he got into the NFL and became a coach because he had a father that was in the NFL, right? And got him in the door. But then you have Coach Prime, who's looking after his son, and he can't get the same benefit of the doubt that he has the right to look after his son as well. Certainly Peyton Manning, father, looked after Eli Manning and where he wanted him to play. On draft day, he made a lot of noise about that. I talked about that in the previous video. Certainly John Elway's father, who coached just at the same school at Stanford, coached his own son just like Coach Prime. They made it very clear where he was going to go. And of course, people want to say, well, because these were better prospects. Dismiss me with that, because by all accounts, Shedeur was touted as a big time prospect that should have been drafted in the first rounds. This was put out there. And here he is in training camp practice, doing his thing, throwing the ball, getting it out there to people, right? Let's watch a little bit of that. He's doing his thing, everybody. That's Shedeur Sanders and the practice out there in Cleveland. I think he's been looking good in training camp, but the question I say again, are they going to allow this young man to really develop as a player that could potentially be a starter? Where does Cleveland really have Shedeur in the bigger scheme of things? Okay. I just had to say that. Where does he fit in the bigger scheme of things in their future? I mean, they got one quarterback in Watson who's got all kind of injury issues. One guy in Joe Flacco who has seen better days. Kenny Pickett, who by all accounts got many opportunities in Pittsburgh and blew it. And then they go and draft Gabriel, which I think scratches my head because he got drafted in the third round. And then there's rumors out there, maybe it was the owner of Cleveland that forced the general manager's hand to draft Shedeur. Look, I would rather see Shedeur be in a place that truly wants him, be in a program that's going to truly nurture him as a quarterback and develop him. I'm not sure, everybody. I have confidence in Shedeur, but I don't have confidence in the Cleveland Browns, because the Cleveland Browns have had a poor track record, a very poor track record of how they handle their players. Coach Prime is going to tell you in the video that I've clipped for you and I'm going to play for you in just a moment, that these are all lies, everybody, about his character. Shedeur's character was attacked like no other in a draft in history. And I just don't feel good about that. I think there's a brother out there that's actually filed a lawsuit against the NFL. I don't know how or where, how far that lawsuit is going to go, but I got serious issues, everybody, with the way Shedeur was treated when the young man has been nothing but first class. Check out this clip of him right here in practice as well. And there he is. There's Shedeur working with his teammates, potential teammates, you know, because some guys are going to get a cut from the team. Some guys are going to make the team. But, you know, Shedeur has conducted himself appropriately. And I've seen quarterbacks, as I said in previous videos, that have made a complete ass of themselves coming out of college into the NFL, and they didn't get this type of treatment like Shedeur, okay? Shedeur understands the moment that he's in. Let me show you a video that I found that Shedeur was very humble about, saying that when I'm a rookie, when I'm a veteran, I'm going to have the rookies, you know, set up my locker area because I'll do the same thing for Flacco. He said that he said anything that Flacco would ask him to do as it relates to the locker room and setting, you know, getting stuff for him, that he would do it, because you know that that's the tradition in the NFL, that you're going to have what they call a little hazing, a little freshman hazing, as we call it. But let me let you hear Shedeur and what he said. This shows you the character of Shedeur that doesn't fit any of the crap that certain NFL officials around the NFL has said about him. Let me let you hear this right here. Check out Shedeur Sanders. I like this.
I know when I'm a vet, what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have a rookie organize my locker every day before he leaves. How?
Because you're not on that, so that's ass that you need to try that.
What?
Ass. Nobody has been on that with you. They'll be asking you. Ultra ass. Ultra ass.
This is the thing. No. What? If Flacco told me to do this every day, I would do it. Because, bro, I real talk, chat, real time. I go to him every day and I say, "Hey, bro, you good? You need anything?"
But you be like,
right hand, because it's respect. You feel me? I feel that.
Here you go. Does that sound like a young man who's cocky? Does Shedeur Sanders sound like a young man who doesn't understand that this is his first year and he's going to have to make relationships within the locker room, within the NFL? That's a young man that's willing to earn his stripes or his dues. I said before about the coaches and how they groom their sons in the NFL to become head coaches, right? It's called nepotism. That's the word I was looking for earlier. It seems that it's okay for everybody else to have nepotism. And I don't think this is what this really is with Coach Prime, but you got coaches in the NFL, people within the NFL brass that are engaging in nepotism, where they got the backs of their sons to move up in the ranks of coaching or within the administration of becoming general managers. But now nobody wants to get into the racial issue here. But the truth of the matter is that Coach Prime has a son. This is the thing. Shedeur does not come from a single parent family. He comes from a two-parent family, but he comes from a strong father. And I don't think the NFL is really used to dealing with young men, especially young black men, like a Shedeur, who can be both humble, as you heard on that video, but at the same time very confident about himself because of the man that raised him, and that's Coach Prime. I don't think that they're comfortable with that. I think they see it as a threat. It's bothersome. And this is why they went out here and lied on Shedeur like they did like dogs. So now you have to look at the NFL, everybody, with a side eye. Let me also reinforce something else here, and I'm going to be playing audio on this. Stephen A. Smith. I'm not the biggest fan of Stephen A. Smith, but he damn sure was right about this on ESPN. He was on ESPN with the whole group here, I guess First Takes, and he said that what happened to Shedeur has never happened in the history. It was a damn shame. But most of all, Stephen A. Smith made it very clear that he's talked to some NFL brass. He's talked to, because, you know, this brother got a few insights. He's talked to some people in the inside about what happened to Shedeur. And they admitted to him that there was some sort of, appeared to be, allegedly, some collusion in which people were saying or being told, maybe owners or general managers were being told not to touch Shedeur Sanders. Not because he can't play, but because, once again, they were concerned about his father, Coach Prime. And this is really unfortunate that they used Shedeur as sort of a lesson that they wanted to send to Coach Prime by saying, we can get to you, Coach Prime, by getting to you through your son. And Coach Prime admitted that this saddened him. It hurt him to see his peers set up here and do what they did to his son. So with that said, let me let you see the video of Coach Prime breaking it down with Asante Samuels. It's time for you all to hear this. And this is a shame, y'all. Check this out. Here we go.
You know, I know it was a lot of rumors about the next level, and I can't see that. Yeah, I can't see the next level. And I think a couple of people who may have taken shots at my kids, they were afraid that I would go to that. And that's where the shots came from. All you got to do is just sit back and listen. And watch.
That's all you got to do.
But people don't want to do that. They want to create.
Did you hear what he just said? All you got to do is sit back and listen. They were taking shots at Shedeur, and he's saying that they lied, and you're going to hear it. Let's get back to it.
Create these narratives and create these stories, and then attach them to a kid that ain't never done nothing wrong.
Yeah. How does that make you feel when you see your colleagues or your peers going in on you, man? Like, how does that make you feel?
No idea, man. You have no idea. Like,
because I don't think people be understanding. Like,
you hear that? You had peers who went in on his son unnecessarily. Let's get back to it.
Got kids too. These are our kids. These are our kids. We're coaches, but these are kids. These are blood.
And stop lying. Like, you got to understand, my kids are built for everything. We had 2 TV shows, and then we had shows in high school with playing football in junior and senior year. So we've always been in front of the camera, so they know how to navigate. They know how to handle themselves. Yeah. And you're not gonna catch them in no foolery and no mess. You're not gonna do that whatsoever. So when you sit up there and say something like, he went in a meeting unprepared, like, dude, Shedeur Sanders, who's had 6 different coordinators, who has still functioned and went up, leveled up every.
I want to stop right there. They lied on Coach Prime's, they lied on Coach Prime's son and Shedeur Sanders, and tried to say that he came into meetings with headphones on very arrogantly. So that turns out to be a lie, which makes me think, as I said before, that the New York Giants, which were the culprit behind all this nonsense, that they also lied about the fact that he came to the meetings unprepared, and that he came to those meetings or those interviews arrogant. If they lied about one other thing, what's to stop us from thinking that they lied about the whole damn thing? I just want y'all to hear what I'm saying here. Let's get back to this.
Every time we brought somebody new in, and you're going to tell me
every situation.
You're going to tell me he had on headphones, Shedeur. Anybody know my son, understand he's a professional. Like, he's going to go into a meeting with headphones on. Like, y'all, come on.
You know what that tells me, Coach? That tells me somebody was looking for something. Before they
boom, Asante Samuels, you just hit it on the nail. They were looking to dirty his son's image up, which is why he dropped. They were looking for a reason not to draft him, not because he couldn't play. They kept telling you, oh, it's because he don't have a strong enough arm. Oh, it's because he's not that athletic. That's all a lie. They were looking for a reason not to draft him despite his talent, everybody. because they wanted to send a message to his father.
We came there. I was already looking for something.
Yeah, that's
Looking
true.
for an issue. Pre-planned, you know what I mean? But hey, bygones, bygones. Hey, man, we know you a dog. Your kid's a dog, and dogs gonna always rise to the top. You know what I mean?
That's true. Dogs are always going to rise to the top. But this is where I disagree with Asante Samuels. I say bygones are no bygones, because what they did was personal. Not to mention, remember, Shedeur Sanders got a nasty phone call from somebody doing a prank on him that was a son of a defensive coordinator, Jeff Albrock's son. Now, of course, the NFL there were other players that got these type of phone calls on that night, that day, but everything about this smells dirty in a setup to me. And no, there's no bygones. What they did to Shedeur Sanders lost a lot of money, and now he's on a football team in Cleveland who we don't even know if Cleveland really is all in with him when they've got a crowded quarterback class in there, or a crowded quarterback room with things that don't make any sense. And then how many real snaps and reps can Shedeur really get in this situation that's going to really benefit him in the long run? I'm just telling you. Now, he's looking good in practice, like I'm showing here. He's looking good in practice, but I just don't trust, personally, I don't trust the Cleveland Brown organization due to their track record, which has not been a great track record with quarterbacks. And then they also have had a track record of drafting quarterbacks that have had problems, that they drafted in the high rounds, but yet they disrespect Shedeur by drafting him in the 5th round. I just want y'all to understand that. Let's get back to the rest of this.
That's what I believe. You know what I mean?
There you go.
For real. But,
Yeah, but
we're talking about
it did hurt.
Coach, when you talking about it hurt.
Now, this is the thing that shows you that Coach Prime is a man, okay? He admitted that what they did to Shedeur, because he felt that it was a nab at him, that it did hurt. Let's hear that again.
Bygones, hey, man, we know you a dog. Your kid's a dog, and dogs gonna always rise to the top. You know what I mean? That's what I believe. You know what I mean?
There you go.
For real. But,
we're
talking about
it did hurt.
Coach, when you talking about it hurt, it hurt us, it hurt me. It hurt, Coach.
But you know, the Bible says God uses the foolish things to confound the wise. So it was some foolish stuff that went on, but you know what? You know,
now,
I know.
I want to stop it right there. Coach Prime, because of his spiritual belief system, his belief in God, these are the things that can carry you through, right? These are the things that can carry you through when things don't look right. And remember, at CU, they've been trying to get Coach Prime to stop putting his faith out there, his religious beliefs out there. But that's his foundation. That's what gets him through these sort of situations. Now, let's continue to hear Coach Prime in this exclusive interview that he did with Asante Samuels, who once not too long ago on these YouTube streets was trying to make a claim that he's a better defensive back in terms of his numbers and history. And let's put all that to rest. We know who's the best. We know who the real GOAT is here. Asante was a great defensive back himself, but Deion, like he said, he's a monument. Let's continue. And I think it shows a lot of guts on Asante Samuels' part to bring Coach Prime onto the show, put all that nonsense to the side, and really have two brothers just talking it out here, I think was wonderful. Let you see the next one right here. Check this out.
Needed. Like that gave them something that they said, all right, that edge that Tom had, that edge, it gave them that edge that you had, it gave them the edge that I have. When folks say we're gonna be nothing, we weren't gonna be nothing, so we had to prove that. That gave them the edge that they needed. Both of them.
Mm-hmm. He already used to adversity, like I say, come from Jackson State and Colorado, so he built for that stuff. Like you said,
we built for that.
You raised him right, you know what I mean? But like we say, we're talking about Shedeur, and I'm going to talk about Colorado, but being that,
now, the question is, no, not the question, but the reality is, as Coach Prime said, that they are built for adversity because both Shedeur Sanders and Shedeur Sanders have been in the spotlight for so many years since they were young that they can handle this. And I think all this controversy over how Shedeur was drafted, I think Shedeur will be able to handle it because, like Coach Prime said, his sons are built for this sort of thing. I think that's where the NFL scouts or personnel have underestimated someone like Shedeur Sanders. Let me let you hear this.
What Shedeur and all the young gunners left or the old gunners left? How
Talking
much can
about
his
CU
team
now.
improve, man, from last season? Coming one game short of the Big 12 championship. How
Yeah,
much think you can improve?
We won't have Travis, who is anomaly. You know, he ain't nobody like that. There ain't nobody like that. Let's get that straight. And Shedeur, what he did for the program, only the people inside understands who he was. And as long as he had the ball in his hands, everybody in the country felt like we had a chance as long as he had that ball. So we won't have that. But I feel
And that's facts. What Coach Prime is going to say here is that he feels that there'll be a better team. He feels they might have had top stars with someone like Travis Hunter, right? He sent 4 receivers to the NFL, one of them and Will Shepherd, who he said is going to get his physical situation right so he can resubmit himself to be at least picked up as a free agent. Of course, Wester, you see right here, was drafted by I believe the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, Jimmy Horn has become all the rage. And of course, you know, we know what Travis can do. We know what Travis is all about, but there's some players that are going to come back and they're going to make some things happen. I think our man BJ Green, who was picked up by he's playing with Travis Hunter with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay. So I think that there are some guys that were very talented on CU, but I think, and I hope Will Shepherd was able to get his physical situation together and get himself resubmitted into the NFL. The person that I told you all about, and I had said this on my videos, that I think that Jimmy Horn is the sleeper receiver in this draft. They are very excited about him with the Carolina Panthers. I think he's going to start. He's going to get I think he's going to get a lot of playing time, and I wouldn't be surprised. I think Travis is going to be fantastic too, but I think Jimmy Horn is going to surprise a lot of people because he's already turning heads with the Panthers as I speak, right? So you don't have these kind of guys, once in a lifetime type of talent, as individual talent on the team. Maybe not. We got to see what these young guys can do. But Coach Prime believes that they will be a better team because he still has some dogs on this team that he has recruited that he believe are going to show you what they're really, made of. So let's get back to this.
as though we're going to be better because we
Gotta play
had
more team ball.
Yes, we had individuals that were phenomenal,
See,
as well as the receivers. You know, Jimmy, LeJounte, Will, all them. We had some dogs. Now we're going to have a better team. Line is better, offensively and defensively.
Boom. This is key. Coach Prime has made it very clear. The defensive line is better. This is something that I've been keying on. The defensive line is better. The offensive line will be better. They brought in a lot of talent. I think this is where I disagree with Coach Prime. I think that his receiving core is going to be just as good, if not better than last year. You know why? Because there's some young receivers that he has picked up through recruitment, through the high school ranks, through the transfer portal, that have been waiting at the bits to show what they can do, like a Amarion Miller, like a Draylon Miller, who's like a Swiss Army knife. He can play running back. They can line him up as a receiver. I think there's some untapped talent on this team that people better get ready for. Preston Hodge is coming back for another year. There's some guys on this team that we should not underestimate. And I think that's why they're going to be a better team, because this younger crew of young men are going to now be able to spread their wings and really get the reps and the playing time that they need. And I've been saying this. Let's continue.
The backfield is better. The receivers, I'm not going to say they're better because we sent 4 guys to the pros. Will is the only one. He flunked his physical, but he's going to get it right. So
right. Will Shepard will get it right, everybody. That's the young man that I feel really bad for. I think he was supposed to be with Shedeur Sanders in down there in what's that, Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where Shedeur is at right now. Will Shepard is supposed to be there. I think he flunked the physical for some unfortunate reason. Hopefully he could turn things around once again. Wester is with the Baltimore Ravens, where I was born. Of course, Jimmy Horn Jr., I think, is going to be dynamic. I think we know what Travis. We know Travis going to bring it. He going to bring it. We know he is. Let's get back over here to Coach Prime.
We sent 4 guys to the NFL, so that's hard to do. But as a team, we're going to be better, man. We got some dogs.
Yes, you do, Coach.
Gabe McKinney on that corner, man. I think he's a pro as well. We got some long dogs.
Coach Prime, you do got some long dogs. Let's stop this right here. You do got some long dogs, Coach Prime. I believe in what you're doing here with CU. We've all said, everybody, that we got to believe in the process. Don't give up on the process, but believe in the process. I believe in the process. I hope you believe in the process. So with that said, let me play something else for you. I've got to play this audio for you, and I want you to hear what Stephen A. Smith had to say on the show. Check this out. Here we go.
Because he called me to thank me for being accurate on what I was saying about the level of devastation that he had felt. Because it was a painstakingly thing for him to endure, to watch his son plummet, knowing it wasn't because of his ability. It was because of his pedigree, who his daddy was, and what you had people out there feeling about Prime and the potential influence he would have on his son. So if my son comes on this particular team, if this team drafts him, we might have to deal with Deion, because if Deion ain't satisfied with how we're doing, who knows? Oh, by the way, Deion is showing himself to be a hell of a coach on the collegiate level. What if people start clamoring for him to be the head coach because we ain't doing what they think?
Tell the truth.
Should do now that we got his son here on this franchise. You had all of that stuff. I know of owners who went to their personnel in the draft room. You're not drafting him.
Did you all hear what Stephen A. Smith, I'm not a big fan of Stephen A. Smith, but did you hear what Stephen A. Smith said? That he knows of personnel in the NFL, I guess he's not going to name names, that personally told him that they knew that owners went to their general managers, the draft boards, and said, take him off that draft board or don't draft him. That's what he's saying here. That's literally and figuratively what Stephen A. Smith is saying here.
That's what I was told. And I've been a reporter for 30 years. That's what I was told. So I'm looking at all of these things and I'm saying to myself, of course I believe Deion. Is there culpability on the part of Deion Sanders? Yes. Because you don't go on national television and tell the world your son's going to listen to you. By the way, you know what? I don't give a damn what the NFL team, if it ain't the right situation, we ain't going to go for it. Because those kind of things can come back to haunt you. And I think that if Deion had an opportunity upon reflection, he would do things a little differently himself in terms of how outspoken he was leading into the draft. And Shedeur Sanders obviously said himself there may have been things he would have done differently. But that does not mean that Deion is not telling the truth. When he says, there's no way in hell my son walked into
information
like
is
that.
Power.
Once again, it's a nugget of intel where you see people trying to stain you intentionally to put a reflection upon you and your son because of their feelings about Deion Sanders. Now, he may have some culpability in that, but it doesn't make it right what's happening to Shedeur Sanders. That brother can play. And I think he's going to show that he can play on the NFL level. But most importantly than that, he has been a model of professionalism throughout his collegiate career. And for these kind of things to stain him on a personal level, to me, it just shows why so many athletes should be turned off by the process. Why go through interviews and things of that nature if you're not going to tell the truth about me? Why do that? That's a shame.
So you hear Stephen A. Smith breaking it down. Now, let me play you something else from ESPN. We're going to go audio because we don't get copyrights for this stuff. This is a radio program under it's ESPN in Cleveland. So they've got their affiliates all over the country, and here you got a group of guys in Cleveland. Really, I think the radio host was asking legitimate questions that I said in this video about Cleveland. Is Cleveland all in on Shedeur? Do you believe, leave me a comment in the comment section of this video, do you believe that they're all in on Shedeur, that they've got his best interests? Because here is what radio host said in Cleveland ESPN.
I could argue Dylan Gabriel's got a longer leash than Shedeur. That, in other words, if he was a first or even a second round pick, how long does Andrew hang on to his draft picks? Kid's a 5th round pick.
Do you think the Browns are committed to really giving Shedeur Sanders a chance?
No, I've told you guys this. Shedeur is a lottery ticket.
Boom. Let me just say this. That is the $1 million question that I want all of you to leave a comment on in this video. As I tell you guys every now and then, I may not be dropping 5 and 6 videos a week and what have you, 3 videos, 4 videos a week. But when I do go live or when I do drop a video like this, I'm giving you comprehensive content. Comprehensive content and breakdowns that you can digest and make sense of. And I want to pride myself with that on this channel. To me, it's not how many videos I put out, it's how many quality videos that I put out. I don't do clickbait over here. Some people may do clickbait. I don't do these clickbait videos over here where I say breaking news on this and it'd be something that I'm not really breaking no real news. But what I do is I talk about what's happening and give you a good comprehensive breakdown to make you think about things. Because I don't know how many people are really asking this other question too. Does Cleveland really have it all in for Shedeur? Look at their quarterback room. Look at who they drafted ahead of Shedeur. And look at the fact that I just played for you that even Stephen A. Smith himself said that there were owners, people that told him that there were owners that said, take him off the draft board. This wasn't about Shedeur's talent, everybody. Don't listen to the naysayers telling you it was about his talent. No, this was about the messaging that they wanted to send to both father and son. This was an attitude that the NFL had towards Shedeur and mainly Deion Sanders. And that's why I don't believe that Deion has the friends that he thinks he has in the NFL, because if they knew that his son was going to be drafted out of the first round like that, why didn't these so-called friends in the NFL tell Coach Prime, this is just my opinion right now, my alleging, why didn't they tell Coach Prime, hey, Coach Prime, your son's not going to be drafted in the first, second, or third round, sir. We got to be honest with you. See, you find out who your friends are when shit like this happens. And that's why Coach Prime said to Asante Samuels that he kind of hurt him. Now, let me let you hear the rest of this audio because I think it's very powerful, but very, very, very telling. Here we go.
Browns just bought a ticket. They bought a lottery ticket, and it's a long shot for him. I think the kid can play, but I just wonder if he's going to get a fair enough shake to prove that he belongs. You know what? The way quarterback is in the NFL, he probably will, and it won't be with the Browns.
This is where I agree with the radio hosts in this Cleveland. I think it's ESPN Cleveland, their ESPN affiliate out there. This is where I think he's right. I think there is a chance. I wouldn't be surprised if Shedeur Sanders ends up playing with another team where he will eventually become the starter, because Cleveland just has a horrible track record, which is why I think Coach Prime was in his right to say that Cleveland was one of those programs that he wasn't too high on. Now, it's ironic that he said those things and that Shedeur ends up on the very team that maybe may not have been the best team for him to go to. And I know people are saying that, hey, Shedeur should be able to beat out the number of these banana can quarterbacks that they've got with Cleveland. But yeah, he should be able to beat them out, but he's not going to be able to beat them out if he doesn't have the coaches, the general managers, and everybody in this program that believes in him. And I'm here to tell you this. This coach right here, I don't really necessarily know if he truly believes in Shedeur Sanders. I don't even know if they believe. When Shedeur got drafted, body language tells you 1,000 words. Now, they tried to make it like, oh, no, they weren't like, they weren't not happy to draft Shedeur. No, I have seen draft rooms where everybody gives everybody a clap of a hand, a handshake, and a dab, and a fist bump, and every damn thing else when they draft the guys that they truly wanted. When Shedeur was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, you saw the general manager sitting there as if they were having, as if they had bad oatmeal. And I'm not saying this to say that, no, that Shedeur isn't a great player. I'm saying that I don't think Cleveland was 100%, at least the personnel department, maybe the owner. I just don't think they were all in on him. And that's why I'm concerned about whether they really are dedicated to developing him to become their starter. I just don't know. I just want to put that out there. I want you guys in the comment section of this video to really give me your true opinions about what you think about this. Thank you for watching this video. Share this video on all your social media. I do my best to put together good videos for you. I want to say thank you for watching. I say like and comment on this video, and most of all, subscribe, everybody. Subscribe to the Prime Sports Media channel, and I would appreciate that. We're going to get ready to get on out of here and make it do what we can make it do. You tell somebody that you love them. I'll be back with more presentation. Once again, we're gonna start getting into the meat and sauce of CU's players in CU. I'm actually gonna talk about the guys on CU's team right now that I think are gonna be the guys that you should look out for, that could be breakout players for this season coming up, this college season. And I want to talk more about this, what they have done to the tournament, which I think, I don't know, it's crazy how they're tweaking stuff right now. So everybody out there, you take care, tell someone you love them, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. Share the video on all your social media. Y'all take care. Peace. You've been listening.
You've been listening to the Prime Sports Media. That's right, baby. Thank you for listening to the presentation. Prime